Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening on the other side of the world. Welcome to Beyond the Outer Realm. We are broadcasting right here in the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM from the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM from beautiful New Orleans. Today, I'm really excited about this because I love anything, cryptid, unexplained. There's so many different things to delve into with it. And who better than to join me than Jason Offutt, who's going to be discussing his book, Chasing Monsters, and chasing American monsters, specifically chasing North American monsters, I'm waiting because he's going to do the whole worldwide tour. And I so want in on that because there's so many amazing things that keep surfacing. And now, of course, everybody's got like one of these, right? And people are actually documenting this. People are actually putting up photos and videos. But what I'm really most curious about is how, of course, AI is affecting all of this and how it's affecting Jason's research and things of that nature. So without further ado, let's welcome my special guest. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine. Thank you very much for having me on.
Oh, pleasure is all mine. Pleasure is all mine. Um, I really enjoyed the book.
Oh, thank
I
you.
I really enjoyed the book. It's very detailed, and it's just I recommend it to anybody who's really interested in this sort of stuff. I don't think people realize how much is actually out there until you see it in writing. You're kinda like, "There's a lot of stuff out there that we're sharing space with."
Right. Yes, Chasing North American Monsters is my second volume of Chasing Monsters. And with those two, I've collected more than 500 monsters just in North America alone. I have, and you alluded to this, I'm not sure if you knew about it or not, but I do have Chasing the World's Monsters coming out in September.
Yes. I know.
Yeah,
Um
there's quite a lot out there that we don't have a clue about.
No, we don't, and that's the thing. You see so many little tidbits showing up, but I think people limit it to just cryptids, but it's really much more diverse than that, isn't it?
Right. It's what at least what I've included, or not just cryptids is an unknown animal. I've also included some animals that uh, have been extinct, sometimes for multi millions of
Yeah,
years, that
right.
people still report seeing. And they're some of these cryptids are definitely. I think real animals that we just haven't seen. We haven't, science hasn't categorized yet.
Wow, or perhaps misidentification as
Well,
well?
yeah, definitely. There's always misidentification. We are, when it comes to being a witness to anything, humans are notoriously unreliable. So, I mean, there are definitely, misidentification. Although, there's a lot of misidentification. People are like, "Oh, couldn't have been a Bigfoot. It has to be a bear." Well,
Mhm.
okay, the size maybe, but and the hair, but the movement of a Bigfoot is so much different than what a bear can do. I kind of look beyond that one.
Right. Yeah, that's a tough one. So I have to ask, I go back to humble beginnings. What piqued your interest about this specifically, or is it just high strangeness in general?
Well, I have always been interested in the strange and the unusual. Um, I was the kid in elementary school when we got the Scholastic Book Club order form.
Yeah.
Friends would order biographies of baseball players, and I'd get books on the Loch Ness monster. It's just
Yeah.
it always piqued my interest. It might, I think it might have had something to do. Well, a couple of different things. One, we had an independent TV station out of Kansas City that I watched a lot when I was a kid, and all Saturday they would show monster movies, and I was glued to the monster movies. But in 1973, I read in a newspaper. We had two subscriptions to newspapers, and I was a reading nerd way back, when I was a kid, and I read a story about a, a family in Louisiana, Missouri, which
Mm.
is on the opposite side of the state, but it's in my home state, that they reported seeing a Bigfoot in their backyard. And over the next couple of weeks, there were more stories in the newspaper about people in that town seeing a Bigfoot, and that really brought it home to me that maybe some of these monsters are real because it's in the newspaper, so it's got to be right.
Right.
That's where my head was going.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been interested for a lot of reasons, but I think Momo, the Missouri Monster, that was the one that was in the paper that really grabbed a hold of me.
And how old were you at that time, can I ask?
I would have been 7.
That's a big thing for a 7-year-old to think that there's something like Momo kicking around within your state.
Oh, and
That
I drove my mom crazy because I grew up on a farm
Yeah.
and we had cornfields surrounding us. I'd go outside and disappear into the cornfield for half the day, and she had
Yes.
no idea where I was, and it drove her nuts. But I was looking for Bigfoot footprints.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
I love that. I love that. So that hence began the journey into this crazy world of everything. So did you find as you went on, did you learn about more of these different beings in your state?
Well, I started off with the big ones, of course, with
Yes.
Nessie and uh,
Yeah.
and Ogopogo and Yeti and a lot of
Yeah.
these. But then yes, I got really really kind of specialized, and there were a lot of weird things in Missouri.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just Missouri; it's all over.
Mhm.
The legends of these creatures are everywhere. One of the interesting things I found when I was researching my first cryptid book, Chasing American Monsters, was that Bigfoot has been reported in every state but one. There have been Bigfoot encounters even Rhode Island. The
Wow.
small as Rhode Island is,
Yeah.
has Bigfoot
Wow.
encounters. Hawaii is the only one that hasn't had a Bigfoot report.
And any idea why that would be?
It's a long way away from the mainland.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Except there are Bigfoot stories in Australia,
Yeah.
New Zealand, and Sri Lanka of all places.
Sri Lankan. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. So, in your opinion, because we'll start with Bigfoot because it is the most common one that people are very familiar with. What, in your opinion, do you think it is?
Oh, wow, good question.
Yeah.
Um, uh, there is a train of thought that a lot of cryptozoologists right now have, and I don't consider myself a cryptozoologist. I'm a writer. I'm a storyteller. I'm a reporter. So
Yeah.
that's
Right.
where I am. But that since Bigfoot hasn't been captured, and Bigfoot seems to appear out of nowhere and vanish into nowhere, that Bigfoot might be spiritual or interdimensional or able to turn invisible of yeah, wow,
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
um I will admit some of the evidence is kind of strange, but growing up where I did, and we had forests around, and I played in the forest a bit, growing a lot when I was growing up, and um, you can be 10 feet away from a full grown deer,
Mhm.
and of course it's not Bigfoot size, but it's not a small animal,
Mhm.
and it can spring up and run. You spook it, springs up and runs off, and you had no idea you were standing that close to something that big. And Bigfoot, if it's as intelligent as people purport it to be, it could probably hide and disappear
Yeah.
as easy as it possibly could.
Mhm.
I'm still under the thought that Bigfoot is a flesh and blood animal, uh,
Mhm.
but as to what it is, I don't know. Is it? I'm leaning toward it being an offshoot of humanity. And here's the reasons for that. There are more than one. Um, Native American, First Nations tribes, um, have had uh, Bigfoot in their belief system,
Yes.
and considered Bigfoot to be just another tribe of people that
Mhm.
they traded with, sometimes interacted with, fought.
Mhm.
So that's one. But there was DNA. There's been DNA evidence of various Bigfoot here in the United States, in Canada, and the third one I think is pretty fascinating. But they all come up with the same results. It's human, but with some anomalies. The one in the third one that I'm going to mention now has to do with the Alma Zana. An Alma is the Russian Bigfoot.
Mm.
Some places it's called the Almasty. Zana was an Alma that was captured by a village, and they kept her to do uh, just work around the village, heavy lifting and that sort of thing. But the men also had relations with her, and she bore a number of children. And one of those children, a scientist professor from England, had exhumed, and he did a DNA test on the son of Zana, and it came back as human with some anomalous parts. And
Mhm.
wow, that makes me think that the natives were probably right. Probably
Yes.
it's
Well, Dr. Melba Ketchum, who's a renowned DNA researcher. I mean, she's done. I mean, she does DNA for all the big trials out of California, things like that. And she was asked to do DNA testing on a Bigfoot, and they come back with human DNA for the mothers. And Docman might, she figures, is also going the same route, which means who's your daddy?
mhm. Yeah, right, right,
Right? So
right.
who are the fathers?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
pretty convinced through that kind of evidence that Bigfoot's just a cousin that we won't invite around for dinner.
right.
Yeah,
The smelly cousin. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, you know what? It is very fascinating. I do agree with that on so many different levels with you. And then you get into this quantum thing because people have reported seeing them go like sort of like a shimmer, like an iridescent or translucent.
Mhm.
And they, remote viewers have said, no, we know they use portals. I mean, how advanced are these beings?
Well, I
Like,
mean,
I mean,
again,
primitive yet not, you know?
I, 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 I
Yeah,
would like for Bigfoot to be discovered by science before I'll step into that realm.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but I'm not discounting it. I'm just saying
yeah,
I want one thing to
yes,
determine before I move on. But there
mhm,
have been a lot of the shimmering you're saying that it's
yes.
called Glimmer Man. A
Oh,
lot of reports all over from that, and they say it looks like the Predator from the movie,
yeah,
the Schwarzenegger movie Predator,
mhm.
and actually that's scarier than a Bigfoot because you
Yeah.
don't notice one right off the bat.
No, it's true. I've seen something like that,
Mm.
and it went over, the truck, and it went up over the side how high stop signs are? This
Yeah.
thing this thing went from the river, which was like a 400-foot drop on one side of the road, and went over. At first I thought it was the size of a deer. It was huge, but I'm like, deers can't jump. And they, if by some miracle one made it that high, they would need room to run to be able to build up
Mhm.
speed. There's no way it could be. It was just a shimmering thing, and it just went across and stopped, and we looked. There was nothing, like nothing there at all. Nothing landed on the other side. It just sort of went like this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Who
know.
knows?
I know.
I
I
mean,
know. So it makes it so that much more curious, that much more exciting. Just to me, if it's something that you have to delve further into, it's something because there's no definitive answer for it. But I don't know, it's interesting.
and
Um,
that's the no definitive answer. That's the problem because in order to prove any of these things exist, somebody's going to have to shoot one.
mm,
And then not just Bigfoot, but pretty much any monster.
yes.
Kill one or capture one, and that would be a shame in and of itself.
Yes, yes. Well, especially if you're leaning to the fact that there's human aspects to them. And the indigenous, oral history does speak of them being that way.
I've heard a couple of interviews with hunters who have said that they had a Bigfoot in their sights and didn't pull the trigger because they thought that they would go to jail for murder because it looked so human.
In some states, it is illegal. Like from what I understand, California, you will be charged for murder.
I think Washington as well.
Yeah,
I think I've
see?
read that. Yes.
Yeah, so no, I don't think you want to take the chance.
Yeah.
So
Well, okay. Something that I said when I was talking about the indigenous peoples.
mhm,
That's something that really annoys me because we don't listen. The West has never listened to the indigenous people.
mhm.
There are, there's petroglyphs all over the place. So there are some specifically in the Pacific Northwest that have orcas, carved into rock and various other fish and bears and this and that and there's the Cadbrosaurus along with these other creatures that we know exist. So
Mm.
why would they carve in all these animals that exist and then this make believe one?
Uh, yes.
Yes, they wouldn't have. They're carving what they know.
Mhm.
There's also a petroglyph, and I think might have been New Mexico or I don't know. I don't know. It's somewhere in the desert Southwest of a theropod dinosaur. Now,
Mhm.
what is out there that looks like a theropod dinosaur except for a dinosaur?
That's right.
Right.
That's right. The ancients always either emulated what they saw, they wrote about or drew about things that they saw or experienced or feared. And you're right. We don't pay attention to it. And you certainly don't pay attention to the similarities of these things that go on all over the world.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, they have dinosaur sightings. There was a recent dinosaur sighting in the Congo. Like, I think it was last year.
Right now, there have been a number of dinosaur sightings in the Congo, and when it comes to the forest in the Congo, it's about the size of the country of India. Okay, people don't really realize how big Africa is. That
Yeah.
continent is enormous,
Yes.
and that's a lot of room to hide. That's where the Mokalia Mbembe is supposed to be. The natives in the Congo have this sauropod dinosaur, like an Apatosaurus, a brontosaurus,
Mhm,
as it
mhm.
used to be called. They've reported that for centuries. The same with there is a T Rex. There's a legend of a T Rex in the Congo, along with a pterodactyl reports from the Congo. Those and the pterodactyl reports are not just from the Congo. We've got them in Papua New Guinea, um, Hawaii, Texas. Uh,
Yeah, this side of the world, right?
right, those have been reported everywhere.
Wow. Yeah, see, that's crazy. But I mean, again, if you can theorize, I know that in the Navajo Nation, and I know this because we have a host here on the network who's Navajo, and not just the Navajo Nation, but all of these tribal people all over the place all have these same stories, but they multiple sightings from different people, not just again on the nation of saber-tooth tigers.
Mhm.
There's still, I mean, this is the current day. Phoenix, giant spiders. I'm good with no giant spider, but like 5-foot giant spiders, draconian skinwalkers, dogmen. They have UFOs. They have Bigfoot galore, some kind, some hostile. I mean, what makes an area like what do you have to be to have that much stuff in one spot?
Well, I think I think there's things going on around us, not just cryptids, but paranormal encounters. I think they're
Yeah.
going on along all the time.
Yes.
We don't notice them because we've got our eyes glued to our phones,
Yes.
okay, or we're driving,
Mhm.
or walking around with our earbuds in. We don't pay attention is the problem.
Mhm.
And this isn't paranormal whatsoever, but there
Yeah.
is a coyote infestation in downtown Chicago. Okay, who,
Wow.
who would think of that? No, you wouldn't, and you
No.
normally would not see them unless it was night because they're hiding.
Mhm.
And that's a terrestrial being, of course, but
Yes.
I mean that
And people
leaves
aren't
the
paying
door
attention.
open for all sorts
Yeah.
of other creepy crawlies to be out there.
Yes. Yeah. See
Yeah,
that?
but why would one space
Yeah.
there? The Earth is not as well inhabited as we like to think.
Mhm.
When we think of the United States, I mean, there are people everywhere. 42 to 45%. I can't remember the exact number, but that's close enough. Of the United States aren't and isn't inhabited. You know,
That's almost half.
people I know people will go there, and visit your national parks and whatever, but we don't live there. We're not there 24 hours a day. And that is a ton of room. There's tons of forest, mountains, desert that we're just not in all the time. And I think maybe some of these places have more encounters just because they
Mhm.
have more
More
pockets
space.
of at least cryptids hiding from us.
Mhm. Oh, tunnel systems, cave systems that would have been used by the indigenous, or, look at the Hopi.
Right.
I mean,
Well, and lava tubes in certain
yeah.
spots that were volcanic. There are lava tubes
Mhm.
running under the ground.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, like I say, you're finding these systems all over the world. And ironically, in some of these systems, you have these beings that come out. Like I say, you look at the Hopi, with the ant people that
Hmm.
came from underground and brought them underground. The same stories in Peru and Brazil. So there's something going on underground without
Right,
a doubt.
and that's something that that science view. And I don't mean to discount. I'm not complaining
Oh, no,
about
no, no,
science
no. No, no, no.
because I
You go
I I
crazy.
I I,
Yeah.
I love science to prove things
Sure.
because
Well,
that's real.
it adds
Um,
credibility, right?
But there are so many similar stories around the globe, and the stories are old enough to where we didn't communicate with each other at that point.
Mhm.
And let's bring it back to the cryptids. Bigfoot is all over the planet. And those stories were there before we were sailing, at least that we know of,
Mhm.
across oceans. Little people, stories of little people are almost identical across the US, Central and South America, Europe, Asia, Africa,
Mhm.
Australia. They all have the same stories of little people. The same with ghosts. Why would ghosts be part of every culture's belief system
Mhm.
unless they're real?
Mhm. I
And
agree.
and yeah, there was again stories and whether there was a massive civilization that's went world round that was destroyed eon ago and we don't know anything about, but we have remnants, and that very well could possibly be. I mean, the Earth's been here for 4.3 billion years. I'm sure
Mm.
we could have had
Yeah.
intelligent civilizations come and go, but
Mhm.
it was either that they were there and are gone and we have remnants of their stories, or all this stuff's real. We've
Mhm.
all seen it, and yeah, period. That's it.
No, it's true. You have all of these ancient cultures who have, I'm sure stories have been embellished, but the idea is the basis of everything is the same. And like you say, how was there communication happening? Chances are back then it would have been limited, if anything,
Right.
right?
Yes, absolutely. And when I throw those examples that I just put out there,
Yes.
when I throw those out there, some people are like, okay, yeah, but what about dragons? There are
Ah,
dragon legends all over the planet as
you
well.
betcha.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
like, who's saying that they're not, that they're wrong?
But people still see them. Like I mean, I'm funky with AI because of the fact that it's just fudging a lot of stuff. However, I saw this video on television of this dragon just flying. And again, it was out in the Midwest, and it's flying just behind the mountains, comes out through the other mountain range. You see it. It's a bit blurred. But you can tell clearly what it is, like it wasn't blurred enough where you couldn't. And you could see it had the horns, you could see it had the wings, the long tail. And ask Grok, ask AI, is this real? So, well, and said there's no signs of CGI, no signs of AI, which says, okay, so that leaves us to what? Video, digital, but there was no real pixelation to it. So it's like these things are surfacing. People are seeing them all over the world. So how are they coming into our space? Like, do you think they could be coming in through portals? You think that they could just be time and space, dimensional, bam, here I am? Like,
Well, I'm still, along with, going back to what I said about Bigfoot. I want it proven
yeah.
before I'll change my mind. Uh, when it comes to all the interdimensional, the portals and things like that,
Mhm.
I'm going to label it. It was hidden.
Right.
That's why we didn't see it. Before I'll change my. I want it proven before
Sure.
I'll change my tune. But um, John Keel, the great paranormal journalist,
Yes.
who wrote the Mothman prophecies.
Mhm.
He's the guy who broke that, and quite a few other things.
The
He was.
multiverse.
Yes. Well, and that's one of the things that he said, is that he believes there are window areas in various
Yeah.
places where the veil is thin
Mhm.
between worlds, and when it gets thinnest, things step through.
Yes.
Okay, I mean
Yeah.
that's portals.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, yeah, it's a transference from one
mhm.
dimension to another for sure. I mean, I don't know. I all these sightings can't just be happening. If you have dinosaurs and if you have again, I sort of look at this as an ethereal being of sorts, you know? I mean, it would take a lot. That's a pretty big girth. You'd have to have pretty strong
Right.
wingspan and
Well,
strong, you know?
yeah, I remember when Peter Jackson's King Kong came out in 2005.
Yes.
There was science uh, has to poo poo everything. Here I am on
Of
science
course.
attack again. But they were saying that Kong, given the size, was like, I think, 25 feet tall. That's how large Kong was in that movie. Is that he could live, but he could barely move because of the weight and the gravity and everything like that.
Mhm.
So, I mean, what does that do with dinosaurs?
I know.
There were dinosaurs a lot bigger than that fake fake gorilla. Well,
Yes.
the Earth was a little bit different back then.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
yeah, yeah, of course. No, no, no.
anything, but
This is all hypothesis until you've
okay,
got one in front of you, right? So
right, exactly.
yes.
So when people are seeing these large dinosaurs or dragons flying,
Mhm.
um, maybe they are ghosts.
Yeah. Why
There are
not?
people have seen ghost cats and ghost
Yeah.
dogs. I mean, why not a ghost dinosaur? Who
That's
knows?
yeah, well, for sure, for sure. I think it's a really good hypothesis because anything, if you have essence, you can be a ghost. Oh, bless you.
A ghost with allergies.
A ghost with
Yeah,
allergies could happen,
yeah.
could happen. Yeah. So, let's veer over to Dogman. How many states have had Dogman sightings? Because from what I understand, that seems to be it's always been there, people talked about it, but there seems to be more of an influx of conversation happening about it and experiences.
It hit the nation's zeitgeist. I don't know, 20, 30 years ago in Michigan. The
Mm,
Michigan Dog Man was the big thing people were talking about. But
mhm,
there are also a lot of sightings in Wisconsin. Um,
mm.
oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember the woman's name. She was a reporter for a newspaper in Wisconsin, and she's the one who wrote the book, The Beast of Bray Road.
Yes.
Oh, this is going to drive me crazy because I know exactly. I got her book, but
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, because she was getting a police report, and somebody had called the paper and said something about seeing this werewolf, but it was basically a bipedal dog.
Mhm.
And she asked the sheriff, and he was like, "Do you want the file on it? Because we've got a lot of reports."
Wow.
So there were There were a lot of reports from southern Wisconsin. I've spoken with people in Illinois, Arizona, and I interviewed actually a friend of mine who saw the dog man here in Missouri.
Wow, that's insane. That's a
See,
bit too close for comfort.
yeah. Thing is, I can wrap my head around Bigfoot, how
Yeah.
Bigfoot could exist. I can't really wrap my head around how a man dog could exist.
Oh, I had somebody on last night, talking about he's a 37 years with the Tennessee Sheriff's Department, and he's had experiences. And one jumped on the roof of his car and busted through his windshield, and he's just like logical guy, kind of saying, "I know what I saw," and it followed him 18 miles
Mhm.
to his house. Like I'm like that because that's not freaking spooky, 18 miles.
Right.
That's
Well, and
freaking
that's one of those things
resilience.
that I have I have tried to keep away from because
Yes.
I've written a couple of books on ghosts, and
Yes.
in order to do the site justice,
Yes.
I go there and
Yes.
I interview people who've seen the ghost, and I hang around the haunted spot, and I've
Yes.
gone out of my way to avoid having a ghost follow me home.
Right.
Okay, but I cannot imagine, because I've heard these stories like you just told me. I
Yeah.
cannot imagine having one of these monsters follow me home.
No, I can't either. If you have you investigated when you did this book, The Land Between the Lakes in Tennessee? It goes long indigenous lore going back to the 1600s, and villages that have continued on afterwards, and Dogman and Bigfoot, but very, very aggressive. A lot of murders, things like that. And I guess the state of Tennessee turned it into just a national park. They just, got rid of everybody, flooded the area, turned it into a national park, and there are still things happening there. So very, very aggressive. So the land between the lakes, if delve into that,
I'll look into that. Yeah,
it's mind blowing, mind blowing.
I'm yeah, I'll put that with a section of Nebraska that I've had a couple of people I talked with who spent a lot of time there at the reservation in up there,
Yeah.
and they've said the same thing about Nebraska, that there are a lot of very aggressive Bigfoot encounters and dogman encounters as
Wow.
well.
Wow. It's crazy. I'll ask you this. Do you think some of these stories, come from people who over the centuries have just migrated over here? Because werewolf per se, that was like it's a French, France werewolves, and then
Loup-garou.
rougarou in Louisiana, loup-garou in Canada,
Yes.
and the
In Quebec, yes.
yes, yes, and there's stories of it all over the place now, and they seem to be different variants because in Canada, I mean, we've seen those type of beings, and you hear the stories, but they're different types of them. But in research, a lot of this comes from the old world.
Right. But let me just touch on shapeshifters for a second, and
Yes, of
then I'll go
course. Sure.
with something that I really am convinced on, what you just touched on. But shape changers are all over the world. In their shape were leopards in Africa. There are
Wow.
were bears.
Mhm.
Um, in the Amazon, they have river dolphins that are really cute because they're pink. But they live in the Amazon, and at one certain time of year, it changes. It can change into a very handsome man
Wow.
and come on land, and its goal is to seduce and reproduce with human women.
Mm.
So I mean, the shape shifting legend.
Like the mermaids almost.
Right. Well, how did we? It's another question. How did across the world all these cultures come up with the same idea
Yes.
about people changing into animals? But the point I was gonna make that you alluded to was coming here from somewhere else.
Mhm.
Right. there is a banshee of the Badlands in South Dakota.
Mhm.
Well, the banshee is an Irish legend.
Yes.
Well, Irish people happen to move there. So when it comes to, um, going from country to country, immigrating to countries, it seemed to me that people didn't just bring the clothes on their backs, picture album, or some family heirloom. They brought their stories and they brought their monsters with them. One of the one that I really like is the Tommyknocker.
Mhm.
Tommyknocker is from Cornwall, England, and the Cornish miners were really exceptional miners, and they had the story of these Tommyknockers, which were these diminutive men dressed like miners that lived in the mines. And much like every other little person story, if you upset them, they would get retribution. They would lead you astray, possibly cause a cave in on you. But
Sounds
if
a
you
bit
were
like
nice,
trolls.
well, trolls, the description of trolls is very much like the description of elves and gnomes and all these other little people.
Mhm.
It's just Tolkien turned them into something big.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you insult them, okay, they
Mhm.
don't like that. But if you bring them a sweet snack and beer, they will leave you alone, and they very well might take you to a new vein of coal or whatever you're looking for.
Wow.
So when coal deposits were found in Pennsylvania, uh, people brought Cornish miners over because they were the best in the world. Well, the Tommyknocker legend came with them. When they went to the West Coast or Colorado and into the West Coast for the gold and silver rush in the mid 1800s, Tommyknockers were there as well. Now, whether the Tommyknockers followed them or not, I'm not sure, because when I was writing Chasing the World's Monsters, I discovered that miners in South America had legends of little people dressed as miners who would play tricks on you or if you were mean to them. But if you brought them wine and food, they would lead you to a vein of ore. And
Wow.
this was before the British people were brought over to the New World. So where did that come from? did they
Mhm.
did it's the same story.
Yes. Yeah, it makes sense. Everything that comes over from the old world. There are so many stories, and you hear about them everywhere, and then all of a sudden, they start showing up in pockets like vampires. You think vampires, you're thinking, Slovakia, that whole area,
Right.
Romania, the old world. Yet here, New Orleans seems to be the hotbed for them. But there's little pockets that they have their own vampire stories.
Right. I think Anne Rice is the one to point a finger at when it comes to vampires in New Orleans.
Yeah, and the Count Saint Germain, who apparently
Oh,
lived there, right?
yes.
But she spoke of him like there's apparently some community there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was everywhere.
Yeah,
Literally, he was everywhere at any
yeah,
time.
yeah,
But yeah, there are vampires. Well, and that's another worldwide story.
yeah.
Uh, there are some vampire stories that definitely stem from the European type vampire, like you said, Romania,
Mhm.
that sort of European vampire. But then there are also some really strange ones. There is a vampire in Australia, and it waits. It's red. Its body's red. It waits in trees, and it jumps on people who are wandering below it, and it eats them,
Oh,
and then it will suck essence from them and throw them back up. And
that's
the
harsh.
person, when he gets thrown up, is a little smaller than they were when they went in. And this will happen again. If this happens again, the vampire eats a person who's already been eaten and throws him up. Comes out a little bit smaller again. The third time this happened, he turns into to one of the vampires. Um,
Wow.
that's a really weird one. There's also
Mhm.
one in like South Carolina and Georgia, a story of the boo hag. And whenever the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, slavery was illegal. There were people from different parts of Africa that were together, and they formed, their own community, and they had legends from their different places in Africa, and one of them was the boo hag, and the boo hag apparently can turn into a mosquito or a fly and come into your house through a small crack, and it doesn't have any skin, and it will sit on your chest like an old hag, and it will suck your blood, and if it does it more than twice, you eventually die, and it wears your skin for a time so it can walk out among the people, and
Oh.
which is pretty creepy and gross. But
Yeah.
the thing that kids are told before they go to bed is don't let the boo hag ride you, which is like don't let the bed bugs bite.
Right. But worse.
But a little bit, a lot worse. Yeah.
Wow. So, what's your take on skinwalkers? Because you're getting to this shape shifting thing again.
Yes. Skinwalkers are on one hand fascinating, on another hand terrifying, because apparently it's with the Navajo people, if I remember right, and they are evil magic users who are able to put on the pelt of a creature and turn into it,
Mhm.
and they are malevolent. And the interesting thing is, I was talking. I wrote a book on shadow people, and I interviewed a number of different Native Americans, and,
Mhm.
and one man said that these shaman who can shapeshift um, look like look like us. You can
Mhm.
run into one at Walmart and you don't know who he is,
Mhm.
but don't make him angry because at night you never know what's going to come looking for you. The thing that I find really interesting about skinwalkers is what did the Norse berserkers do? They would don the pelt of a bear or a wolf
Yes.
and run
Yes.
into battle, you know,
Yes.
to get the strength and the courage of that animal whose hide they're wearing.
Yes.
Not entirely a shapeshift, but sort of similar.
Yeah, well, the lore, yeah, definitely seems similar for sure. God, you just realize how things are very, very connected when you bring them up. I'm kind of like, yeah, they're just a different version.
All right, connectivity of our planet, and this is going to be in Chasing the World's Monsters. This one really, I mean, because there are monsters we've already talked about this that are similar world round.
Mhm.
There was one monster I found in China that looks like a discarded piece of leather or maybe a rug, and they're found in higher elevations in the water. And if you get close to one, thinking that it's, you're ignoring it because it looks like a rug or a piece of leather, it will rise and wrap itself around your arm, your leg, your torso, all around the edges. It has needle sharp claws that sink into you, and on the bottom of it are suckers that suck blood. And okay, that's kind of weird. That's an
Yeah.
interesting one.
Yeah.
But when I was looking in the Andes in South America, there is an ancient legend of something that looks like a rug or a piece of leather that is in the higher elevations in water, and it has hooks on the sides of it. It has suckers on the bottom, and if you get too close, it'll wrap itself around an arm or a leg or a torso and suck your blood.
Oh gosh.
I mean, those are two identical monsters set literally on the opposite sides of the world from each other
Mhm.
that have been around before they talked at all.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess I mean I guess I can understand A Bigfoot, big hairy man. Okay, a giant, he's hairy. I get that.
Mhm.
But a blood-sucking rug that matches identically to another one on another part of the world. That one blows my mind.
Yeah, see that to me is just mind-blowing because how unless these things at one time all the continents were much closer together.
Right? We were connected all at one point, but that was millions of years ago.
Yeah, and we have two continents missing
Right.
besides that, right?
Right.
So
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, and these things definitely could have traveled that way, I guess, but
Yeah. There's also something called convergent evolution,
yeah.
where animals, similar, but not necessarily the same species, uh, but they're in the same environment. They evolve to be almost identical. There's
Mhm.
a species of feline and species of canid that grew to adapt to a desert environment. One's in Asia, the other one's in I think Mexico,
Mm.
and they look identical. But one's a cat and one's a dog. But
Hmm.
they evolved to for the
Yes.
same reasons. And crabs, there are, I don't remember how many species of crab, but there are many more species of what's called false crabs. Like the Alaskan king crab is not a true crab.
Oh,
It is a similar animal that evolved to look and act exactly like a crab because of the environment it's in. That's the optimal form to have.
and people are eating it.
And people are eating
Not
it. I
knowing.
know.
Now we'll never look at that as the same again.
There are a lot of species of mole, but there's also a lot of species of false moles for the same reason. They evolved to look like each other just because of the environment. One of them's even a marsupial mole.
A
Okay,
vole? Is it like a vole? They're just about this big. They're
well,
blind, no tails.
yeah, a mole.
Yeah,
They
mole.
burrow
Yeah.
underground.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So do these
I think
things.
voles are different.
Okay, because they do the same thing. They go under as well. So I was wondering. They're just like these menacing little things. Cute but menacing. Cute but menacing. But yeah. I mean, people are eating these king crabs like it's a delicacy, but what are you really eating?
Well, I mean, it is a crustacean, but it's
Yeah, I
not a
guess so.
crab.
Yeah.
But it tastes good with butter.
I guess it does. Yeah. So what about black-eyed kids? Black-eyed kids, that's like a
Oh,
also creepy.
extremely creepy. I when they first started, they first started, making their rounds. I had compiled enough stories and I'd interviewed enough, you know, experts on biology and whatnot and religion that I was going to put a book together. And my wife, who has tolerated all my paranormal endeavors,
Mm.
said, "Jason, don't write that book because nothing else you've written about scared me. They do. So if you write that book and
Wow.
they come knocking on our door, I will be so pissed off at you."
I'm throwing you out. Throwing
So
out.
I
You're
picked
going
my
outside.
battles and didn't write it. But uh,
Wow.
the story started in 1998 with a journalist in Texas named Brian Bethel. He was uh, he was going to pay. He got off work at newspapers. You work really late at night because the paper hits the subscriber in the morning,
Mhm.
and he pulled into a strip mall because he wanted to pay his cable bill. He was in his car writing a check. He was going to slip it through the night deposit box, and there's a movie theater in that strip mall, and there's movies still playing, and all of a sudden he realized that there was somebody standing outside his car, and he looked, and it was two somebodies, a boy of about 16 and one of about 14,
Mhm.
and he rolled his window down just a little bit to talk to them. He got an immediate nervousness. Something was wrong, and the one boy was talking to him. Sounded like he was a lot older than 16. He was talking to him like an adult, and he
Mm.
was saying, Could you take us to my house so I can get money from my mother because my brother and I want to watch this movie? And Brian immediately was like, something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong, but went to unlock the door anyway.
Mm.
Felt compelled to unlock the door. And then he looked at the kid, and the eyes had no iris, no whites. It was just
Wow.
black, like a shark's eye, like a rat's eye.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that scared the heck out of him. So he threw it in reverse, backed out, and started to drive away. And the spot where the kids had been that he drove away from them, they were gone. There was no place they could have gotten to. They were just gone.
Mm.
And cases slowly, he posted this on an internet forum in 98. And some cases started appearing slowly at first. And then I collected, I don't know, maybe 50 cases over
Wow. That's
about a year's time. And that's a
just
lot.
in the US or everywhere?
Oh, everywhere. I got
Wow.
some from, I got one from Brazil. I got a few from Canada,
Mm.
Great Britain, Portugal, South Africa, Saudi Arabia. I mean, and
Yeah.
one from Australia. I mean, just everywhere. I got these reports, and since they've really died down. I
Huh.
mean, what are these things? Who
Yeah. Yeah.
knows? I interviewed medical professionals, and nothing, no drug or no ailment could make an eye completely black. There
Wow.
are contacts, black contacts that are used like in vampire movies, and you
Sure.
know. And I interviewed a guy who bought a pair just to mess with people, and he said they're uncomfortable and they pop out every 5 or 10 minutes.
Mhm.
And that kind of puts the kibosh on a lot of these reports, because there's reports of like 8, 9, 10-year-old kids with black eyes trying to get inside your house.
And what are they doing out late at night
Well, that's
at that age?
one, but
I mean, the common sense factor of it, when you see 2 kids out trying to get in your house at that hour,
well,
let's say.
they'll say they're in trouble. Can I call my mom?
Right.
And that's the thing. People are always feel compelled to open the door for them and let them in because they're kids. We want to help children.
You do. Has there been
Um,
any cases of people letting them in and what happened
nope,
afterwards?
no, not
Wow,
at all. I One
that's
of the people I
concerning.
interviewed about these black-eyed kids said, maybe all of these reports we have of young, healthy people dying of natural causes,
Mhm.
maybe they're the ones who let the black-eyed kids in the house.
Oh,
Mm,
you know what? Yes. That's food for thought, isn't it?
yeah. Now, when it comes to black-eyed kids, and I'm going to throw other things, but Slender Man, which is not even real.
Tulpa.
It's completely made up for for a contest.
Mhm.
But there are other creatures that the same have happened. That when people start talking about them, they start appearing. And because I've interviewed a couple of people who swear that they saw a Slender Man.
And that, yeah, a tulpa, like a created.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
we get there might be entities out there. I'm always going to temper my claims with there might be,
Mhm.
because I'm not claiming I know anything.
Well, yeah.
I don't
I
know
know
anything other
nothing.
people
Yeah.
don't. Because I go
Yeah.
with, if people tell you they know exactly what a UFO is, don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. But there very well could be entities out there that get the energy from discussing, black-eyed kids or whatnot, and they appear as those.
Bloody
Yeah,
Mary.
you're right. Tulpas. It could be
Yeah,
very well could be a tulpa.
tulpas. Well, I mean, those things go back, you know, hundreds of years,
If not
maybe a
longer.
1,000 years. I mean, golems, same idea, right? In Jewish tradition, the
Right.
golem. So, there are things I think that come out of just cultural belief systems as well, that you can just put out there. Like the Norse have these like amazing, traditional, creepy things that happen. But again, like the tulpa thing, like, Odin's wild ride, like around Christmas
Mhm.
time. people have seen this. I'm like, but it's an old tale, but yet people have said, oh no, we've seen that. And I'm just like, that would be horrific. If I
I
was
was
a
saying,
kid.
I don't know. Have there been, and I don't know this, I'm throwing this out
Yeah.
there. Have there been people who actually claim to have seen Santa Claus?
Get me started on that. That is a
Okay.
tulpa. That is a tulpa. The jolly red man.
Yeah.
The guy in a suit. Come
I don't know
on.
what would be scarier is seeing a Bigfoot or Santa Claus actually.
In your house? Like, no, Jason, there's investigators who have investigated this. People, you need to investigate this for one of your books, because around the world, people have stated seeing, one was Santa out in the street, like just they figure, oh, it's just guy dressed up, finished his Santa gig for the day with an elf like being, and they both just disappeared in front of him. And
Oh
then
wow.
people have reported, even like as children, Santa coming into their rooms, not so jolly, in fact, looking very irate that they're even awake. Like stories like this are all over the place. Like you gotta dig into that because it is insane.
Yeah, I will.
Oh my
That kind of
god.
reminds me of, I did a series of articles about an entity that the person I interviewed had experienced his whole life, and he referred to it as the Harlequin.
Oh yeah.
And so it is
Like a
uh,
jester type thing,
like
isn't
a
it?
jester type that would come through a spot in his wall when he was little in his bedroom at night and dance on the the bed, and you know do mime activities and talk with him even though it never moved his mouth. And
Oh.
there were a lot of weird things he said happened in his house. As he grew up, he saw it less and less, but occasionally he would run across it in weird places. Like he said, when he was in high school, he and his buddies were out driving around in his, he was driving his car, and they saw a woman pushing a baby carriage like at 11 o'clock at night. And she was walking a little bit strange. And when they got up to it, he looked at her, and it was this Harlequin figure wearing a wig, a bad wig, and an ill fitting dress. And it smiled, and two of his buddies wet their pants immediately.
Wow.
And he floored it and got out of there. But when I started writing these, telling this guy's story, I was contacted by people from all over the country, one from Kansas, one from Texas. And I found a story in a newspaper in England, in a small town in England. The mayor had reported seeing one of these dancing throughout the street, and he said it was obvious to him that he was the only one who saw it.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a clown phobia, that would not be really
Yeah, I'm
welcome.
chlorophobic. Clowns,
Yeah.
everything, Stephen King's It is a documentary.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yes. Well, I knew somebody who was terrified of clowns. He said he did better with the scarier looking ones, but the happier looking ones, he goes, he just knew they were up to something. It's like, wow.
Right. If
Okay.
you have to paint on a fake smile and I can see you're frowning underneath it,
Yeah.
yeah, there's
It's
something
a
going
problem.
on. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Um, uh, you talk about unicorns.
Yes.
I mean, there have been sightings. Is this something that is also worldwide? Because most people attribute that to the UK or Ireland, Scotland,
Well,
magical
because it is the
places.
national animal of Scotland.
Yes, that's right. That's
Yes.
right.
Um,
So,
there are a couple of different animals that you could call unicorns
mhm,
in the Arabic world.
mhm.
Um, they're
Narwhal?
more like,
Narwhal?
huh?
A narwhal? Is there not a
Oh no, I'm not going with a narwhal, even
oh,
though those are beautiful.
yeah.
Uh, but I can't remember the name of it, but it is a more of an antelope-like creature,
Oh.
but it has one long horn, but it's hollow. And when the wind whips through it, it plays music that can put people into
Mm.
a trance.
Wow.
In the area of the Middle East, there's also a rabbit, a unicorn rabbit.
Huh. Wow. Good for the
So
rabbit.
yeah, well, actually,
Self-defense.
rabbits like you've seen the jackalopes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yes, somebody put those together when they were taxidermying a hare, but
Yes.
one of the men that went with Lewis and Clark reported seeing jackalopes out west, and in Germany there's a similar legend of jackalopes.
Mm.
And digging into this, there's this type of dermal cancer that when it grows, it looks like horns. So these people who,
Mm.
the original stories of jackalopes are probably people seeing something real. It's just
Yeah.
a jackrabbit with cancer.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, I guess it's some of the best stories came out of the old world, I think, for things just like that. And then, it just gets bigger and bigger. It always starts with somebody who has seen something, right?
Yeah,
So, and it's where does it go from there? It's like the fish that was this big, that this big,
right, right.
you know. Um, yeah. Well, that's a shame. It's always nice to think that you have these beautiful, magical unicorns just galloping around.
Well,
Um,
and we had there are eight or nine mentions of unicorns in the Christian Bible,
mhm,
and
mhm,
as well.
yeah.
But I mean, people attribute this to the rhinoceros.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would make sense. That would
Mhm.
make sense. I mean, even the Queen of England, Elizabeth I, wanted a unicorn horn because Queen Mary of Scots had a unicorn horn. But meanwhile, they tricked her by going and getting one from a narwhal.
Mhm.
And she truly believed it. So if you truly believe it,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Then
and there were times back in medieval fairs that uh, they would, whenever a calf starts budding the horns
mhm,
bud, you can remove the buds. They're not yet anchored into the skull, uh,
mhm.
and they would take both of the buds out and they would replace one. They would cut open the forehead and put it right in the middle, so it would grow one horn.
Wow.
They would show people that it was a unicorn, but it was just a cow.
That's insane. That's a thing. Wow. I have to ask because in these cases, science could come in and go, okay, we know what this is. And let's face it, we know that there has been a lot kept from humanity per se, need to know basis. We apparently, the little folk, don't need to know. Maybe
Mhm.
they figure we can't handle knowing, whatever the case may be. Do you find that the powers that be, maybe science in some aspects, have also hindered the research? Because I always it brings me back to the giants and how the Smithsonian just dumped like hundreds of bones into the ocean, and yet there are still giants, Kandahar giant. They're still walking around.
Mhm. Well, there are giant stories. I mean, all over the planet. Absolutely. I mean, Magellan, when he was circumnavigating the globe, talked about the giants of Patagonia. So, I mean, they've been seen by historic figures, for forever. And again, it's in ancient books. When it
Mhm.
comes to, and I hate to do this, but yes, science
Academia.
has
Yeah.
science has pushed, has hidden some evidence
Mhm.
uh, because it's unfortunate, but scientific research is based on money. And if you have any sort of scientific, any ideas, any hypothesis you want to prove, and it goes against the grain, you might not get funding.
That's right.
For the longest time, the land bridge, across the Bering Strait,
Mhm.
and the Clovis people, 13,000 years ago, that's how people got to the Americas.
Mhm.
Back in the 70s or 80s. a woman archaeologist was digging at a site that she in Mexico that she dated it being 47,000 years old, and she lost her job, got run out of the business, and had to start working in the private sector. But later, decades later, they found out, she was right.
Mm-hmm.
The people have been in the Americas a heck of a lot longer than what was initially thought.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are a lot of findings in Egypt that are just pushed under the rug just because it goes against the Egyptology right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Yeah.
So yes, that happens when it comes. And like I said, I hate to see that. I have some friends who are scientists. That's one of the
Mm-hmm.
beauties working at a university. Me as a journalism teacher can hang out and have a beer with a physicist and talk
Yes.
about all sorts of crazy things. But
Yes.
but my physicist friends had said, we believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
We are the type of people who should discover ghosts because then people will believe us. But
Yes.
yeah, try getting a grant for that.
Good luck. Good
Yeah,
luck.
and about the government hiding things. All right, I understand why the government has been hiding UFO knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I am firmly convinced we are not alone. Way too much evidence, and it makes too
Yeah.
much sense to
But
me.
that goes back thousands of years too, though,
Oh yeah,
right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I remember in college pulling out a Bible, and my buddies are like, "Oh,
Yeah.
come on, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Let me just read you a little bit of Ezekiel and see what you make of it." Like, okay,
Ezekiel's
yeah,
wheel. Yeah.
yeah, the wheels within a wheel and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it goes back, and there's so much evidence. But I understand why the government has kept things silent. One, was it the Brookings report
Mm-hmm.
that back in the 50s or 60s that determined that if the government said yes, aliens exist and they're visiting us, society, religion, everything would crumble. That's what they thought.
Well,
Okay,
religion, most certainly.
so yeah,
Yeah.
definitely it would.
Yeah.
So I can see why for the longest. I don't see why they're holding it back now anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, on that basis, but I can also see that if there were crashed craft that we were using to back engineer for our own needs, they wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
want our enemies to know.
No, that's 100%. I agree with you 100% on that. Uh,
Yeah, but why would they hide? There are also stories of them hiding evidence of Bigfoot. Why would they care if Bigfoot was around? Why would they care if people knew about giants if giants were around?
mhm.
I
Well,
don't get that.
because I think we're looking at a narrative, possibly. I mean, you're looking at religion. You look at even the differences between the Ethiopian Bible, which is the oldest and has all, what is it, 88 books in it, including
It's
the
got
Book of Enoch,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Which
got
is
the
the big
first and
one.
second Enoch and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Old Testament and then the New Testament, which is much more limited. But I think when you're looking, I'll use Catholicism just for, as an example. Even they have come out with something in the last couple of years saying, look, we're putting something together where we're going to offer support for people who may have had extraterrestrial
Mhm.
experiences or to see how they feel. Like they're incorporating it, I guess, into, what the priests are their training to be able to address it in the masses for when that day happens. However, you know how many people are experiencers?
Oh, a great number. Yes, a ton.
Yeah.
Well, and I
Yeah.
remember reading a newspaper article about that, about the Vatican,
Mhm.
addressing extraterrestrial life and
Mhm.
saying, if God created it here, why wouldn't He have created it other places?
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, if the church is coming out and saying that,
Yes.
one, what do they know?
Yeah.
That's the main
What
one.
is it?
What do they
50
know?
miles of archives underneath that place.
Right, and well, and the Vatican has a deep, a deep space telescope. I mean,
Oh,
it's not in
Lucifer.
space, but they've got telescopes
That's
looking into
Lucifer.
deep space. Why would they be doing that?
Exactly. When you think about poor Galileo, who they just about, that's it, Galileo, you're getting it for heresy. Now
Yeah,
they've got Lucifer, the largest telescope
mhm.
out there, and a non-stop funding, which is like, so they have to be seeing something up there.
Right. And I don't get that, because isn't Catholicism all based on faith?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know what kind of concrete evidence you're looking for, guys. I don't know.
I know, but there's so much to it, and I mean, and getting while we're on that topic, reptilians, draconians, though, like under the city of Los Angeles. Have you looked into that? Like back in the 70s, that reptilian, that because there's not all places have basements, right? In California, and something came up through a woman's floor through her closet, and she goes into her room and opens a closet, and there's like a reptilian standing there, and wanders out, and then a scientist or geologist or something went in and started doing mapping an underground tunnel system under LA, and there have been reptilian sightings there, and they have old newspaper clippings and everything on this.
Oh wow, I'll have to look into that, because I did not know. I mean, I know there's supposedly what is it, Taos, New Mexico, um, and various other places that reptilians there's a base, and they're living underground. There's also supposedly stuff at the Denver airport, and I'm flying in there in April, so I'm planning on wandering around the airport a little bit. And
I know someone that's going to be doing that as well. So I'm just like, stay in the lounge. That's my advice to you. Stay in the lounge.
That's good advice. I'll just get a Bloody Mary and just sit there.
I know. Stay in the lounge. Don't go around. But yeah, I mean, there is, this theory that they've been around so much longer than us. And if you're looking at Peru, much like the Hopi, Peru actually had a reptilian take them down, underground when they faced cataclysm, and the reptilian people. I mean, there's a statue to this reptilian god, and he fed them, he educated them, and when it was safe to go back up. So I don't know if that was years or centuries. Like I'm not quite sure of the timeline, but so there's all these stories that they have been here the whole time.
Right. Well, there are the Dogon people of Africa are fascinating, because they have ancient stories of Sirius B, which is something that we can't see with our naked eyes, a star we can't see with our naked eye, and we didn't discover it, until sometime in the 20th century. But they talked about the people coming from there, and educating them, and it's.
You have to wonder. You have to wonder.
You've got to wonder. I mean, if they are saying this story and, are talking about a star system that, we'll never find, it's like, hey, that's a fun story. But they're talking about a star system that's actually out there.
Yes.
That they knew about before a telescope was discovered.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And there we have it. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, there's so much to this incredible universe, this incredible planet. And you have all these possibilities of life, but in different forms. Is this maybe a dumping ground for other life forms, because other planets maybe got in trouble and they just brought them here? Like when you look at Mothman, right? You only see this thing once in a blue moon, and it's usually around a time where there is some kind of cataclysm. Like I think there was a sighting of him when the nuclear or the plant blew up. That and another one in China or Japan, their facility, a nuclear facility, whatever. Yeah,
Fukushima.
Yeah.
Well, and there was a bridge that partially collapsed in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. And people this has been years ago, but people reported seeing a creature like Mothman flying around.
Okay.
So which of course, I mean, he showed up and he was, was seen on the Silver Bridge sometime before it collapsed in Point Pleasant. So,
yeah. So, it makes you wonder, some of these beings that some of us have come to just, love and get a healthy curiosity about. Like dire wolves, they're trying to recreate dire wolves now through DNA.
Right. Well, what they created wasn't a dire wolf. It's but it's probably going to look like one when
Yeah,
when they
yeah.
grow up.
Mini version. Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying wanting to do the same thing with the dodo next.
Mm. But see, these are things that are still appearing. I don't know about the dodo. Some people believe.
Yes,
Ah, okay.
there have been dodo sightings.
Okay. Okay.
That and the thylacine, the Tasmanian tiger in Australia.
Mhm.
It they claimed they said it was extinct in the 1980s, but the last one that they knew living was it died in the Hobart Zoo in 1936.
Mhm.
But there have been people who've seen them over the years, and Australia is a pretty big place.
Mhm.
So yeah, there could be thylacine still alive. That I
Mhm.
mean that would go from I mean it's a cryptid now since it's supposedly extinct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So there are, yeah, things just showing up. Even the dire wolf has been apparently spotted in some forests and such.
Right. And this is back in the 1800s, but uh, North America had a couple of species of hyena during the Pleistocene era. You know, the Ice Age,
Mhm.
and they were big because everything was big then. But
Yes.
in the 18, I think it might have been 70s, a rancher in Montana, there was a creature, a wolf-like creature that was killing its livestock, and the local Native Americans called it the Shuka Warakin. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation, but
Mhm.
it meant the thing that eats dogs. And the guy shot it and killed it, and the attack stopped. He had it stuffed, and it's still out there.
Mhm.
It's in a museum now, and the owner refuses to have it DNA tested, but doesn't look like a wolf. It's got some hyena-like properties. There have been
Wow.
other hyena sightings over the years that I've found in North America, along
Mhm.
with lion sightings too,
Lion sightings.
because there were lions like the African lions that lived in North America at the time.
Mhm. How much many of these animals do you think could be, I always say the zoo escapees, the inmates made it out.
Well, I mean, some could.
Like the large black cats, you know?
I think the black cats are more than likely, and not just the large black cats, but there are other cats that have been seen out and about.
Mhm.
There was, and not just in the U.S. They're the alien black cats is what they're called, and they're seen everywhere. There was one reported in Australia. They did DNA test on its scat, and it turned out to be a leopard. So I'm sure that one was from a private
Yeah.
collection that got loose.
Yeah.
But it tends to be the old Bigfoot encounters. There's one here in Missouri, the Beeman Monster, uh,
Mhm.
that the legend is there was a circus train that crashed and these animals got out, and the Beeman Monster was an escaped 10-foot tall gorilla. And did my historic research, and there was one crash on that line near that town, and it didn't have a circus.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
so a
the
lot of
old
Bigfoot
folklore.
encounters are not gorillas.
Right, the old folklore. I love those stories. I know in certain parts of Canada, Southern Ontario, they have, like, the Ministry of Natural Resources, and they have been tracking black cat sightings with scat and everything else and bones and things like that, and there have been attacks. I filmed at a location where a mare literally sacrificed herself, to a large black cat that, it was trying to attack a foal, and it had somehow, at a different time, made its way in some of the large, it was a big horse stable. People would board their horses there, big arena, all of that, and it's got claw marks. It got inside one of the stalls, big, deep claw marks going into it, into the wood of the stall. Luckily, no horse at the time was there, but they're definitely out there. Where they come from is a curiosity.
Right. Well, the black part, every cat species
Yeah.
can be black. It's they
Yeah.
can go into a melanistic phase.
Mhm.
But it has to do with pigment.
Mhm.
So I mean, there are black jaguars and leopards
Yes.
and mountain lions and such.
Yeah.
But when it comes to these big cats, I think a lot of people who've never been close to a big cat don't have a clue how large they are.
Big. Yes.
Mountain lions are so big. Um, I was hiking in Colorado one year and it had rained the night before, and I was on this one trail and I saw a cat print. It was that big around. I'm like,
Wow.
I am not going any farther. I'm going to turn around
It's the size of my head.
and leave. Right. It's as big as my face. I am not going to meet that kitty.
No. Wow. It's all things to factor in. I mean, I don't think people really grasp. There's so much also on this planet that is undiscovered. You just look into our oceans where you say, you started off with Nessie. It's like they maintain that there's no way the loch could sustain an animal that big, and that there's no real direct access with something that big to the ocean. I don't know.
I mean,
What do you think?
there is ocean access, but again, that big, no.
Yeah.
The biggest problem that I have with that is it was cited at first in the 700s AD.
Mm,
So
yes.
it couldn't be the same animal. So
Mm.
therefore, there would have to be a breeding population, and if there's a breeding population,
There's more
there'd be
than
more
one.
chances for people to see it, and there'd be dead bodies that would wash up on the shore. So I
Mhm.
don't know about the Nessie thing, although I do know that
Yes.
there's a lot of strange strange evidence that points that there might be a monster in that lake. But
Yes.
the ocean, it is 95% mapped from satellites.
Mhm.
However, it is also 95% unexplored, meaning we know what most of the bottom looks like.
Mhm.
We don't know what lives down there.
Right. Right. And how deep it goes in some
It,
areas.
well, the Marianas Trench is what, 7 miles deep?
That's insane.
Right.
I mean, it's so black down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say. The giant squid, though, we thought forever that this Leviathan just, big. I mean, they've been surfacing, and science has got a hold of them. Oceanographers have got a hold of them, and now you have an idea. This exists. So how many more things like that? Mer people allegedly have turned up in nets and things like that, if you can believe it. But I
Well,
don't know.
and that is another story that is worldwide. I mean,
Mhm.
there are stories of mer people in from African mythology, of course, from European Greeks is where the sirens showed up,
Yeah.
but also in South America. And there is a mermaid legend in, is it Alabama? I think it's a river in Alabama
Hmm.
that an entire tribe was being attacked, and they elected to drown in a river,
Mhm.
instead of being conquered by these other, their enemies.
Mhm.
And in that river, to this day, supposedly people hear singing and can see mermaids swimming in the river.
Wow. So
So again, from
yeah.
before we had worldwide communication, we've got the same stories all over the place.
Yeah. See, you have to, everybody who's on the fence, you have to realize that there are still sightings going on. I think the world of AI is going to make that really difficult because you see things turning up all the time. And as a researcher such as yourself, that's got to complicate things a little bit.
Yeah, and well, you said believe, and for the people out there listening, all you, you don't have to believe in something. I don't believe in things. I go with evidence. I just have an open mind to think, yep, you know what, that could be possible. Although when it comes to some cryptids, I'm pretty positive they're out there.
Yeah, some more than others for sure. Thank you so much for coming on and having this conversation with me. It's just nice to share space with someone of knowledge when it comes to this sort of stuff. I like to learn new things as I go along, and I'm looking forward to the next book. And I will email you on that also, because I for this time spot I book months ahead. Unlike the other show, this one's only once a week, so it goes a little bit quicker.
Okay,
So,
well, it comes out September the 8th.
oh, maybe
Yeah,
so maybe we could look at doing something at the end of July for this one, for
sounds
that book
great.
coming up. Okay,
And I want to thank you for having me on. Folks, We had a heck of a time getting our schedules right, mainly because of me. So I'm really sorry about that, and I'm glad we could finally hook up like this.
Oh, me too. Me too. I'm so grateful. So where can people find you? I've got your website up here and you
All
have a
right,
new book coming out.
right there. Yeah, I've got a new book coming out. You can see everything at Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Llewellyn
Mhm,
Publishing has done my 3 Chasing Monsters books. I've already
mhm.
got enough compiled for Chasing the World's Monsters Part 2. So let's hope that one can make it. So you can go to llewellyn.com, and there's like 4 L's in that.
There is, there is.
Yeah.
There
I'm
is.
also all over the place on social media. Twitter, I'm not going to call it X. I'm on Threads, Instagram, Facebook. Just find
Mhm.
me. And if you got any questions, please ask.
And if you're interested in the book, there's a link with the description in the show description.
Mhm.
So we keep it nice and easy. Also, the website, everything is there. So thank you all to everybody who's been watching. Thank you to everybody in the chat room. Thank you, of course, to Jason. And we shall see you guys tomorrow night on the Outer Realm. So thank you and have a wonderful day, everyone. Goodbye.